Spoiler warning, Patrick Klepek. Spoiler warning.
That's not even, we're not being facetious. If you've not finished Dead Space 3,
turn this off.
We're going to openly talk about the ending to Dead Space 3.
Spoil the shit out of that game.
Ah, you fought a moon!
Yeah, so here we are, directly post-moon fight. Actually, maybe not directly. Like, maybe some time has passed. We're not real sure. Isaac's not sure, because what the hell, man? Like, okay, for the record, I speaking for myself here, I thought that ending was ridiculous and stupid. And I think you're kind of on the same page.
Yeah, I just not in the fun way. Like, ridiculous and stupid. Like, there was a way to handle the last boss is a moon.
Yeah, that was not it.
Well, because Dead Space has never it's always adopted a fairly serious tone.
I think they left that tone behind right here.
Isaac, you activated the codex. The moon fell. We fell.
What about the alien machine?
I love how hand-wavy these guys get. It's just like, why aren't we dead? We should be dead.
It pulled a moon out of the sky.
After the thing that happened at the end of our game, we should not be here for more content, and yet we are.
I think that line summarizes it.
Yeah.
I stopped trying to figure this stuff out back on the Ishimura.
And here you have why Dead Space 3 Awakened is kind of great.
So
because
on principle, this like really frustrated me to hear that. I mean, Dead Space 3's ending does all sorts of like cutting itself off at the knees narratively and dramatically in terms of like Isaac's sort of character arc.
Right.
But then, like, furthermore, it infuriated me that they were going to maybe pull an Asura's Wrath and, hey, the real ending is hidden behind DLC that's coming out. You know, not 6 months after the game to set up another sequel, but weeks after the initial release.
This came out like a scant month after the release of the game, but the good news is that
looks like this is the only way.
This does not, oh man, grappling, my favorite part of Dead Space 3.
It was cool the first time.
Yeah, until it got to like the kind of the one-hit kills where like scripted events were just sort of knocking you off. Although here it's just like here's a chance to see some really cool lighting.
See, that's fine.
Yeah, there's no way to die here.
The whole like dodging boulders and other bullshit.
Yeah. But anyway, like this is not like, you know, this is the real ending of Dead Space 3 and you have to have this. This is more like an optional epilogue.
Okay.
Like that game ended. Like it had an ending.
Right.
You know, such as it was, like it or not, it was at least it felt complete.
They still should have killed him.
Yeah, like I know that a lot of people sort of think like, oh, it's just the absurdity of fighting a moon that you hate, but no, like it's just like it's basic dramatic issues. Like they.
Oh, that's pretty awesome though.
I know.
That looks really sweet.
Stupid shit, man. But I mean, it was a lot of what I hated about it was that they rob him of his heroism. You know, it's like you killed off your protagonist to save the human race, but oh wait, you didn't.
Yeah, and that's to say nothing of like Carver's actions at the last moments. You know.
Yeah. So they even touch on that, like the complete nonsensical nature of what he does right at the end of the game. Like they actually basically kind of get into a little spat about it.
Weird.
Like this, it's so weird. This whole add-on is like,
man, I don't even know what.
Pretty self-aware about how crappy the ending of that game was.
Is this what they feel like after the marker reanimates them?
Could you be any more crazy? Hell no, we are not necromorphs. We killed the thing that makes them. At least we don't have to put up with that shit anymore.
Aren't there other moons? Isn't that what was implied?
Yeah.
There are like 11, 12 other moons
yeah.
in the universe.
Definitely like a crew of moons flying around. Like, even Carver.
Let's just let that statement just like sink in. Like a moon, like Dead Space 4 moon crew.
My moon homies.
One of their ships has to be around here.
Even Carver is more likable in this DLC than he was in the game.
Well, the problem with Carver was that he had no time to breathe.
Right,
like you never encountered him if you were playing by yourself.
Right. Except at the least appropriate times.
Right.
Like he would just show up for major story beats that he had nothing to do with.
Bad monsters are dead, Isaac. We won. Just call me if you find it.
Also, I really like that guy's VO. Like he just seems like he's so tired of all this shit. I'm just gonna let this sink in for a minute.
When
it's right there,
the achievement unlocked that says you defeated the moon,
right,
or you beat the moon.
Yeah.
I put the controller down and I started laughing.
I know. There's some pretty good achievement names in this one too, actually. I'll leave it to the players at home to discover them. But I mean, so this DLC is pretty good. Like, it kind of...
In some ways, that also infuriates me.
Yeah, well...
Not that I want to dislike stuff, but...
It's because of stuff like this. Like, there is... they really start getting back to, like, kind of the psychological...
Wait, look at that. Wait, look at his head. His head is spinning.
What's that?
Does it always do that?
Where?
On the... Oh, no, that's just the... Okay.
I don't know.
I thought maybe he was just freaking out.
I never noticed. Well, there, I mean,
an exorcist.
so there is a good bit of freaking out in this.
Okay.
Like, that's part of what I like about it. Like,
one of the best parts of it, too.
I hope that nobody considers this a spoiler, but like the thing they were just saying about like, hey, we killed the moon, we killed the thing that makes the necromorphs, so now there are no more necromorphs. Like, they stick with that. They don't go back on that in this. That's not to say there is not combat in this. So you are still fighting stuff. Well, you know what? I take that back. There are a couple points right up here where you do fight a few monsters. But for the most part...
Alright, that's pretty good. I would have no problem killing Norton again,
I know,
I'll say
right?
that much.
Dude, I wish... Oh man, he's still alive! I'm just gonna rocket him to death.
So, do you carry over all your stuff?
Yeah,
from...
it's all totally the same stuff.
Okay.
And if you finished...
You never see those guys in 3. Those guys are really rare.
They're very scarce, yeah. Like 2 or 3 times, maybe. Where's that thing? I hear it. Ah! Oh, I hate these guys.
Yeah, the black variants are...
Yeah. And I hate the spitters just because I hate getting slowed down like that.
There's another one.
Oh. Wait. Are our stereo channels swapped in our headphones? I think they might be. Whatever.
Is your positional audio lying to you?
Yeah, like I thought that he was on one side, but he was actually on the other.
That's just a psychological trick.
So, one of the things that's great about this DLC is that they... Well, I'll let him tell the story. Like, it's a whole lot of playing with what's real, what's not real, you know, like it's...
Like, we thought we finished this.
It's, well, yeah, and maybe they did. It's like, is this really happening, or is Isaac just losing his shit? Like, I wished that, I wished he kind of maybe hadn't been quite so put together in 3, you know? Like, he was just sort of, he did his thing, he wasn't... Like, they got away from the frayed psyche aspect of 2, you know?
And it was really odd because it happens without... Oh god, the moment in 3 when you're fighting 2 of the regenerator necromorphs, you know, who never die, and you have to... It was part of one of the side missions. There are 2 regenerator necromorphs, and you have to try and solve one of those little puzzle things.
Yeah.
Oh man, it drove me nuts for like half an hour because I just kept screwing it up. But they... You know, Dead Space 3 opens with Isaac in a real bad place, and his relationship with Ellie is all frayed, and she's left. And then he just sort of, I don't know,
he just does his
gets
thing.
it together.
Right.
I really wish they had explored that a little bit further, which is actually what was so problematic about the guy you just killed. Who's the
Norton.
Norton. His real contrived existence in the fiction just to create a wedge between Ellie and Isaac when there were plenty of wedges that already existed based on the way Isaac had been acting.
Right. So, for whatever reason, they get back to Isaac the crazy person.
Oh, man. That's awesome.
It's pretty good. Oh god, Moon Crew!
Shut the fuck up.
It's the crew of moons!
Oh, they're taking this to the place I wanted them to take this to.
Yeah. As ridiculous as the Necromorph Moon conceit was, like, they almost redeem it with this DLC. Oh... Like, I still thought the whole marker mystery, like the kind of... The threat of the Necromorphs was more menacing when you didn't know what it was about.
Yeah.
But if they were going to go this route, like, they almost save it here.
Well, the problem is they didn't lean into it enough from, like, the B-movie goofiness angle. They treated it as really serious.
Yes.
And showing an army of moons.
I know.
Is the best. That's how you lean into it.
Yeah. And without getting into much detail at all, I freaking love the way this DLC ends.
Okay.
If as some rumors imply, this is the last we ever see of Dead Space, I really like where they leave it.
Like it ends on a fun note, like I kind of want to see where this goes, but if this is where it ended...
it almost ends in a way that there is nowhere else for it to go.
Oh, great.
I'll let you find out, but... Or what I mean is, if that is how it ends, like I'm very happy with that.
It's a satisfying ending?
With that as an ending, I'm happy.
Which is almost tragic, given how unsatisfying Dead Space 3's, you know, in-game ending is.
Right. Whoa! Remember these guys?
Yeah.
F off, buddy. On my face.
Yeah, shotgun just
I know.
wrecks those dudes.
I loaded the shotgun up with as many rate of fire circuits as I could. So between fast fiery shotgun and then rocket launcher underslung on the weapon, like I kind of can't really be touched, which is fine with me because I just wanted to play this for all the creepy stuff. But so I mean, this DLC is almost 100% recycled levels from the campaign, which sounds like a bummer, but they dress it up enough. Hang on.
And also look at that moon.
Also, let me just pause here for a second.
It's funny because when I've talked to people that have been playing Dead Space 3 and like they're getting like halfway through, they get down to the planet and they're like, oh, I really don't want to play any more of this. I'm like, can I spoil something for you that might make you want to keep playing?
Right.
But also might just confirm your suspicions that you should stop. It could go either way. And like, yeah, sure, was like, you fight a moon at the end.
I know.
And almost everyone is like, I gotta see, okay, yeah, I gotta see that.
Like I can't not see how they do that.
And I almost feel in some ways I've better set them up to maybe enjoy it. Where if you know the sort of ridiculousness is coming, maybe you're just better psychologically prepared for it as opposed to just, oh, come on, that's it.
Line them up.
God, that creepy sequence in 3 when you have to go inside the giant necromorph and fight off the like tiny spirit children for the first time. That I did not have the right weapons for that section, and that fucked me up.
Yeah, you really gotta be able to put your back to a wall in that one.
The flamethrower is incredibly efficient with these enemies. I really embraced the flamethrower in 3.
Again, maybe it's just because I have crazy weapons, but this DLC is super easy. Like, there's really not much of a challenge.
I mean, 3 was, in general, pretty easy.
You're right.
They definitely... I wish more games would take Bungie's approach and make a person that has played the series before feel really confident that choosing hard is the right way to go.
Yeah.
Because otherwise I always just choose normal.
Can't shoot that guy, just in case you were wondering. He does that.
Okay.
So the cultists that you're interacting with are basically what's left of Danik's forces that were on this planet hunting you. And then once the moon crashed, like they all started kind of going nuts. Is sort of the premise here.
Yeah, Danik was also like another character that started out as could have been interesting, where they like give you a face for the religious movement, but just don't do a whole lot with him.
Yeah, or he's such a
he's just a stereotypical villain.
Yeah, he's such a almost like a snidely Whiplash, just like almost mustache twirling and you know. Yeah, not
because they sort of set up sometimes in the dialogue an interesting way it could have gone with what happens when sort of someone puts their faith in this sort of larger big picture ideal, which is you know Danik's a crazy person, but he believed that this was like humanity's fate, and then when it's confronted with contrary evidence,
right?
Like how do they reconcile that?
Right.
And they don't like they have like a tiny bit of dialogue regarding that, but they don't. I don't know. They didn't really go into that as satisfyingly as
they actually get into that very specific issue in this.
I think that's really interesting.
Much better than they do.
There it is again.
Oh yeah, like this shot was just to show off that skybox.
That's a good skybox.
Look at that moon.
That moon's got a big hole in it.
From a purely physical perspective of what would happen if a moon crashed into a planet, this is so stupid. Because the entire surface of this planet would be hot lava.
Right.
Probably. Or scoured clean, if nothing else.
Ah, well, they sort of addressed that with Carver's like, I don't know,
yeah, no,
aliens,
space magic, alien machines, whatever.
Which I'm willing to accept.
Right. So, like, I feel like they kicked it off with that specific dialogue so that you could just accept everything that happens. But I don't know how deep we should get in here. Maybe.
I feel like, you know, unless, I mean, you played through this, unless there's something specific you want to show, I feel like you've kind of.
So we're almost
You've
off.
sold me on this.
The whole point is just, you know, like they said, they're looking for a ship. Here are the dudes leaving the planet. Also, you fight a few of these guys. And fighting these guys when you can't see really sucks. Ah, see?
At least it makes it more interesting.
Actually, they're a little different, I think. That's like a new model, right? A new character model?
They look a little bulkier there.
That weird kind of giant underbite.
Yeah.
Rocket launcher really makes it easier to just kill these guys without. Oh shit! Except when they do that.
Yeah, that does look different.
It's that face, like that giant kind of toothy thing coming out.
Yeah, these guys basically got nerfed by what you're capable of pulling off with the crafting system.
Yeah, like I could just do that now. And now it's dead.
I mean, those guys were only ever really a problem in the sections in 2 when they would have like 10 of them flank you.
Right.
And you'd like take one down, pull off one of their arms, try and use that to get the next guy. They were never really a problem in 3. I always forget.
I always forget I can even do that. I mean, again, like you said, the crafted weapons are so good in this game.
Yeah.
It kind of doesn't matter what else you can even do. Oh, yeah, I think our stereo's definitely swapped. Because I heard that guy coming from the other side.
All right, this.
Let me.
How much is this?
It's $10.
Okay.
It's pretty short.
You said what, 90 minutes maybe?
Like yeah. I was probably closer to 2 hours because I was like poking around every last corner. Because again, like this might be the end of Dead Space. You know, who knows?
I mean, that sounds kind of perfect though. Kind of like it's like movie length. Like you can finish it in an evening. You know, it's not like a drawn out, overwrought story. It just has like a little epilogue for these characters.
A few really neat, like, again, sort of like a few neat ways that they play on like what's real, what's not. You know, what's all just in Isaac's head versus what is he actually doing for real. You know, like what the fuck is happening here? And they address some of that, and some of it they just leave it up to you to interpret. The moons are coming.
Oh man! I mean, you know, this comes hot on the heels. We're looking at this just hours after Jen Riccatello has resigned from EA, which is not long after, you know, there were the rumors, whether, you know, I never did any of my own reporting on it or not, you know, that, you know, Dead Space 4 had been canceled due to poor sales of the third one, but, you know, I mean, EA was very public about that 5 million sales number they wanted. What are you doing?
Just, you know.
Just make everyone throw up.
Yeah.
And this game certainly did not sell 5 million copies.
Oh! No, not even
John
close.
Riccatello.
Come on, buddy. It wasn't
Things
that
aren't
bad.
that bad. You know, come on, you'll land somewhere.
You have so much to live for.
That's fucked.
Yeah, that's pretty messed up. All right, I'm close to getting off the planet, so let's just burn through that real quick, and then we'll call this.
Everyone is going insane.
So I don't know. I would love to see what Dead Space looks like next gen. Like Dead Space has always been one of the most visually arresting series. Like what it pulls off by having sort of a small scale but portraying a big scale.
Right.
It pulls off something with a third-person shooter that God of War kind of does with character action. And I'm done with Isaac. You know, maybe I'm even done with the Necromorphs. I don't know. Like
Yeah, I think a new Dead Space would have to look very different from the stuff they've done before.
So this is implying that maybe this isn't real. Like he's fighting.
So check out the.
Didn't you hear me?
What? I was just being attacked.
You've been standing there doing nothing. I said the ship needs fuel. Hit the switch
That's
on the big
pretty
tank.
Yeah, so it's a lot of it's a lot of stuff like that. It's a lot of like, what's going on with Isaac? Is any of this actually happening? Is he even alive anymore? Is this purgatory? What's going on?
So can you co-op this?
Yeah.
Okay.
Although apparently he just like sticks by your side the entire time.
Does he have crazy shit going on too?
I don't think he has any separate anything. Take that item box.
Oh.
Yeah. What?
I wonder if this would have been a better solution to, like, if Carver could have been almost two different characters depending on if you're playing single player or co-op. Because I've heard good things about the Carver psych stuff, but I'm never gonna see it.
Yeah, it's okay. It's very thin. There's not a whole lot to it. It's basically like in the missions, in the co-op specific missions, there's like one room per mission where stuff looks different if you're Carver than. And it's like, you know, like in one case, it's like the room is dressed up for his kid's birthday party.
Right.
Stuff like that. So it's kind of neat, but it's very superficial.
Can you see the moon from here?
Hell yeah, you can.
Yeah.
It's a moon. All right. So we were almost done here. Let's just get out of here.
Dear, it's just a little. Oh no.
Oh no, what?
The shock drive on this thing is out. It's only got impulse.
So yeah, it's a very basic story of, oh, this
Stuck on this.
ship is not light speed capable. We got to find a thing to fix it. Let's go back up into orbit, try to do that.
Sure.
But along the way, it's all the weird stuff that goes on in his head that makes it pretty good.
0G or no 0G?
There's a little bit.
Okay.
Actually, there's what kind of amounts to a boss fight, although it's more just like mechanical, like trying to get the ship working under duress.
Okay.
That happens in 0G. That's actually pretty neat. It's got a neat trick to it toward the end of this thing. But amusingly enough, like this is kind of like the Mass Effect 3 Citadel thing, in that like it kind of leaves you feeling better about the base game than you might have otherwise. You know what I mean? Sort of like leaves you with a more positive feeling.
And sort of freed from having to wrap up a mythology.
Yeah, once again,
gives them a little more to play with. I
Totally,
guess.
totally. Like once again, this sort of like they kind of let their hair down and just go nuts with this.
This looks cool. Like
yeah.
I'm totally, just like you, bummed as anyone else that Dead Space 3 was not as enjoyable as I wanted it to be, or at least the first third was way better than the second third.
Right.
But this seems neat.
Yeah, it's if you not just if you liked Dead Space 3, but also if you wanted to like Dead Space 3, I would say this is worth checking out because it does add some neat stuff and sort of fill in some of the stuff that game was missing. Let me just get up in here real quick so you can kind of, like I said, all the same levels, but they've sort of been dressed up.
Here's that Aliens music, or Alien.
Is that so? That's why I liked it so much.
It sounds just like the music
when I
from
was floating
Alien.
around out there, I was like, man, this is like the perfect possible kind of background music to floating around in space.
Dude, go watch.
It's been so
Ridley Scott's
long.
Alien. It is.
Was it the first Alien?
Yeah.
It's been so long since I've seen
I'm sure
Alien.
there are compositionally thematic some themes that carry throughout those films, but specifically the first one, like when you've got like the ships floating in space bits when they've got
Okay.
It sounds. It is aping something very specific, but I feel like it's in a very isn't that music amazing sort of way, not in a we couldn't come up with something better.
Right.
I think it fits really well.
Carver, did you hear that?
Yeah, you think you can lift the lockdown?
I'm about to find out.
So anyway, obviously some ill things are taking place on this ship among the survivors.
All right.
Also, I want to know why there are so many candles on this ship.
It's whatever. In Tomb Raider, you go into these caves that have clearly been abandoned for decades, and
Right.
for whatever reason, there's tons of candles
Yep.
everywhere.
So many candles.
Oh, I definitely remember this section.
So many candles. Yeah, you'll recognize pretty much everything from this. Ah!
All right.
Yep.
we should wrap this up.
We'll stop here. But the meat of this DLC is yet to come, but it does get pretty good, and like I said, it ends real strong.
Cool.
So,
that
even if you hated Dead Space 3, you should play this, I think.
I am happy to hear, because, you know, like, the ending was already they sort of screwed it up when they tried to stick the landing, so I don't feel that bad about them trying to fix it here, or at least, you know, kind of like Mass Effect ending you on a... That's pretty.
What a great looking game, man.
Yeah, this whole series looks good.
Oh, I would have loved to see a Dead Space on the new consoles.
Well,
we'll see.
Cross our fingers, but
yeah, I wouldn't say this totally redeems Dead Space 3, but it does make it better.
Cool.
So that's Dead Space Awakened. It's $10. It's out now.
Thanks, Brad.